What's up, everybody? It's Three Wheel Khalil. 2022 is now in full swing. Winter's walking out the door, spring is on its way in, and those 2022 Can-Am Ryker and Spyder models are finally rolling off of showroom floors and into people's garages. This is the perfect time to be a Can-Am rider, and one of the questions I always get is what are the first mods or accessories that I should pick up for my Can-Am, and that is what we're talking about here today. Stick with me. Now, whether you've had your Can-Am for a few days or a few years, I think we can all agree it doesn't really start to feel like it's yours until you've had a chance to customize it a little bit. So let's get this thing kicked off right with my number 5 pick for your first mod to do to your Can-Am Ryker or Spyder, which is swapping out your handlebar grips. Now, if you're like me and you picked up your Ryker or Spyder second hand, then this is a no-brainer kind of mod. Mine came with my grips already kind of demolished. It only had about 400 miles on the bike, but there was no miles left on these grips. These grips were worn out. So I went to my local dealership, the dealership I picked up my Can-Am at, and I actually got the Pro Taper pillow top grips and swapped them out. Took a little bit of jerry rigging because the Can-Am spot is a little bit longer than kind of like the standard dirt bike handlebar grip section. So it took a little bit of finagling, but I was able to get it to work. There's also standard solutions that you can get from Can-Am to replace with their sport grips. You can get the foam grips that a lot of people like for that help with wrist fatigue because they make it a little bit chunkier. There's plenty of options, and especially if you're getting a used bike, it is a no-brainer. Go ahead, replace those worn out grips. Alright, so handlebar grips might not be the sexiest mod you can do to your Can-Am. So for this next one, we're going to get a little more flashy. My number 4 pick is to do a lighting upgrade. Now, with the Can-Am Ryker that I bought, the lighting options were less than spectacular. You basically get halogen bulbs up front, a little bit of LED brake light action in the back, and nothing in between. So it didn't take long for the Can-Am community to start looking for options, and luckily the aftermarket poured in with support when it comes for lighting, as well as Can-Am also came out with some really good first-party options. The best thing about the Ryker in that sense is that it is very easy to add plug-and-play lights. Under the left panel there's actually some connectors to connect in powered accessories, and you can do this in a plug-and-play fashion. It really isn't hard to do. Anybody with a little bit of time and know-how can plug in things, get a couple splitters in the mix, and really customize their setup. I've got a low-key setup with 2 LED strips on my fenders that really give me a lot more presence when I'm riding at night and make me feel a lot more safe when I'm in dark environments, that hey, not only can they see me, they can see that this is a full 3-wheel motorcycle, because the fenders do lack a little bit of presence at night, being black and just relying on those reflectors to be seen. But you don't have to stop there. People get super funky with this and go all out. There's so many things you can do with Can-Am lighting, especially on the Rykers, but definitely as well on the Spyders. Just the sky's the limit. Just do your research. Sling Mods, Trick LED, companies like this have some really cool options, as well as Can-Am themselves. If you hop on the website, there's some really cool options for lighting, and you really can't go wrong. Just don't go maybe too overboard, or you might be buying a new battery sooner than you need to. Sticking with this theme of items that you're going to interact with every single time you ride your Can-Am, my number 3 pick is replacing your stock seat. Now, the stock seat on the Can-Am Ryker is actually pretty good, especially if we're talking 10 to 30 minute rides around town. It's really all you're going to need. But when you start to push the boundaries, whether that be with extra weight or longer ride time, you might see that you want a better seat and want to explore other options. For me, I upgraded to the comfort seat, but there are a lot of cool options on the market today, and you really can test the waters and see what will fit your needs best. There's the solo comfort seat, the normal comfort seat. There's some options from Corbin, a well-trusted seat manufacturer in the motorcycle industry, as well as Sling Mods has some cool new options with integrated backrests and choices on the color for the leather and the vinyl that they use in the seats. That's all super cool, and if you have a riding community in your area, maybe reach out to some other riders who have the seats that you're looking at purchasing and asking, hey man, can I get a little seat time? Can I just, sit on your bike at the next meetup? So definitely think about doing that so that you can find the fit that works for you and get it onto your Can-Am. Now, for some, my number 2 option may be hit or miss, but for me, it's an absolute necessity, and that is having comms or speakers set up for your Can-Am. Now, for me, I've always been a comms mounted in the helmet kind of person, and for the multimedia aspect, I like to just keep my music to myself, but for the communication aspect, I really love the ability to be able to take calls on the go, and not because I really want to be connected in that way all the time, but because it's nice to know if I have to take an emergency call that I can be heard clearly, and in a situation where I need that, it might just be the thing that saves my life. So I really appreciate having that feature, and a lot of these more modern comm systems have some really cool features like voice recognition and higher quality audio drivers like the Pack Talk Slim that I use now from Cardo. It has JBL audio drivers, and the sound quality is really up to snuff, especially compared to the older style comm systems that I think people traditionally think about. But if you're on the other side of the camp and you really want that full rich sound, you want full mounted speakers, amplifier, etc., there are a lot of options on the market for aftermarket mounting solutions for speakers, as well as Can-Am recently put out their own Bluetooth speaker that basically provides a surround around the current speedometer and allows you to integrate that a little bit more easily than some of the aftermarket solutions, but there are plenty on the market and pretty easy aftermarket solution plug and play kind of solutions as well. So definitely do your research. If that's what you want, go out there and get it, because to me, music and that multimedia aspect is actually a huge part of my life and a huge part of like just relaxing and disconnecting from the world, is being able to listen to great music. And to be honest, I could not imagine riding my Ryker all the time without that beautiful soundtrack in the background. The number 1 item on this list is probably the most simple, and that is a phone mount. Because for me, a phone is so important, using directions, making calls, or even just changing a song, but having that control center front and center on my handlebars is really important to me. And so I swear by the quad lock system for mounting my phone. I use it on my motorcycle, in my truck, and even on my desk at home. It's just a simple system that I've never had to wonder, hey, is this gonna hold? I'm going 80 miles an hour on the highway and I don't have a care in the world where my phone is mounted up with the quad lock, and I know I can rely on it so that I can rely on GPS and phone calls, etc. So that's it for me, guys. Remember, I've been 3-Wheel Khalil, and life's more fun than 3 wheels. Peace.